in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you. In the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the latest Elite FPL podcast, where myself and when he arrives, Dan will be back up and running to talk about all things fantasy football and all things virtual FPL from 7 o'clock, where we can just have a bit of fun and enjoy everything. And of course I can see there's no chat up on screen. How ridiculous is that? Unbelievable. But I've got some breaking news here. James Bang is back. Back with a bang. Wow, James, you're here. Blimey, we've been sending out message to you, message after message after message. We've been wanting to get in contact with you, heard nothing. I don't want to be grim, thinking potentially the worst, but it's nice to see you, mate. Nice to see you. Welcome back, and welcome to everybody that's joining us. I'm just waiting for Dan to get well, here he is now. I can bring Dan live on air. So basically tonight I've deliberately gone early live because I want to get Dan's thoughts on FPL returning. I want to get his thoughts on the Premier League return. And then obviously from 7 o'clock onwards we're going to concentrate on virtual FPL, where we'll be reacting to all the games live. You know the format. You all know the format with that. And of course we will also be discussing various things moving forward with you guys. So without further ado, let's bring on Dan and let's say hello. Evening, Dan.
Hello.
Hello, Dan. You are live on the show with us, talking all things fantasy football and virtual FPL. How you doing, mate?
I'm alright, mate. How's it going?
Yeah, very, very well indeed. The biggest question that we have for you is this. What's your thoughts on the unlimited transfers since FPL has returned?
Well, it's just, I wasn't expecting it, put it that way. But I guess it's trying to get people's interest back in the game, those that have kind of like dipped off throughout the season. Does seem a little bit unfair on those that have like put so much work into their teams though, and then their opponents have got an advantage. But yeah, it makes it pretty interesting.
Up on screen right now is the team that you left the game as it was when the game finished about 3 months ago. For people listening on audio, Foster in goal, Gomez, Alexander-Arnold, Bowley, De Bruyne, Traore, Salah, Saka, Aubameyang, Jota, Vardy, Button, Barnes, Kelly, Maitland-Niles. Of the double game week 30 players you've got there, which is predominantly Arsenal, we've got Maitland-Niles, Aubameyang, Saka, we've got De Bruyne. There's no Sheffield United, there's no Aston Villa. Straight away, what are you going to be doing with this unlimited transfers for the upcoming game week 30?
Well, yeah, obviously it's weird looking back at it because it's such a long time ago now. What is it, like 3 months or something? So when I first logged in to look back at my team, I was just like, oh, I've got Jota. And I was like, oh, I've got Maitland-Niles as well. So it was kind of like, I just put, because I haven't logged, I literally, as soon as FPL was kind of cancelled, I haven't logged into it since. So I just forgot about players that I had, really. So yeah, I'll be looking to get rid of I'd keep De Bruyne. I'd keep Aubameyang as well, actually. But yeah, obviously kind of de-Wolves my team because I've got 3 Wolves players in there. And just trying to make the most of that double game week, really.
So what would your plan be to get in triple Man City, have triple Arsenal, have triple Sheffield United, triple Aston Villa? You get the idea. What have you got? Have you thought of any plans, or is this just literally been thrown upon you and your head's all over the place and you don't know what to do yet?
I'm still sorting out my virtual FPL team, let alone my proper fantasy football team. I mean, the fact that you're saying about Sheffield United, definitely getting some of their defensive assets, that'll be a must for me, really, based on their performance this season so far. Villa, I don't know. I mean, the obvious candidate, Grealish. Apart from that, I don't really trust any of their players, in regards to their poor form this season. So, but yeah, I mean, Man City assets. I mean, look at Aguero with his record against Arsenal in the past as well. That'll be quite an interesting one, whether to keep Aubameyang or just transfer him out for Aguero based on previous record, particularly last season, he got a hat-trick. So, yeah, I mean, plenty of food for thought, but you have kind of sprung that on me a little bit. But, no, so, I mean, it does make it a lot easier having the unlimited transfers. And I'll get rid of Jota as well. definitely.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up just quickly the fixtures, and thanks to Anurag who brought this up on the Discord. And for anybody wondering how Dan is phoning in, it's quite simple. It's all through the Discord. All you got to do is become a member. It's all free. Just get involved with all the members of the community and stuff. And this Saturday, some breaking news for everybody. Some news to listen into. Myself and Jason will be hosting a special edition of the Elite FPL show, where we'll be taking calls, celebrating the fact that FPL is back and what we're all going to be doing with our teams, and we are going to be having a phone-in special. So make sure you put that in your diary, which is this Saturday, probably at 5 o'clock in the evening. So yes, thanks to Anurag, I can actually bring up the fixtures upcoming for everybody, and it should be up on screen here. Yes, it is indeed. And basically it looks to be the fact that some of the better teams like Wolves, United, Everton haven't got such bad fixtures. Even you, like Arsenal, haven't got such bad fixtures. Leicester, Liverpool, we all know how good they are. Man City, of course, they've got a really good run in between Gameweek 33 and 38. Dan, obviously, the return of the Premier League is next week, Wednesday, I believe it is. How excited are you for it coming back? And also, from a fantasy football perspective, are there any teams that I've just mentioned there that you're going to be focusing on to be bringing in certain players?
Well, it is weird. I mean, I've just I've just said about the Wolves players in my team, because obviously I've got a triple up there with Traore, and Jota and Bowley. Sorry, but there was a reason why I did that, because now I'm looking at their next 4 game weeks of West Ham, Bournemouth, Villa, and Arsenal, and and it, talking about Jota was in good form, but it's just such a long time ago that I'd forgotten about it. But I'm definitely excited. I mean, it's going to be strange, as I said, without the crowds, and I do quite enjoy, even you're not there, you do enjoy that experience of hearing the crowd and seeing the crowd, and it certainly is a massive part of it. But at the end of the day, it's obviously all important about the safety of everyone and the well-being and whatnot. And it's just good that they're getting it started back up. But the only worrying thing is that we're playing Man City away, so that's not going to be a good fixture to start with. And at the time we were due to play them, they actually just lost to Manchester United 2-0. I don't know if you remember that game when I think it was McTominay scored in injury time, and they just got completely dominant. Well, just completely out tactics by United. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing it, and curious as to how kind of the viewer experience will be, but also glad that, obviously we can mention the fact that some of the games will be on free-to-air channels and Amazon Prime and everything else. So it should be really good.
Jason, you'll be pleased to know. Have a look at that, everybody. I've learnt something. I've now got the chat up and running up on screen, so it is all there.
Oh.
Jason, thanks to your little tip. Here we are. Piece of paper, all there. Notes written down. Anyway, so talking of Arsenal, they have got a double game week. They're up against Man City away. Then I believe they're at home to Brighton. The simple answer is a lot of people will be looking at Arsenal assets to potentially triple up on, just to take advantage of the fact that it is a double game week. I'm just going to ask it straight away. What assets are worth bringing in for Arsenal?
It's tricky. I mean, they played Charlton in a sort of, can you say pre-season friendly? Pre-presumption of the season friendly on, I think it was Saturday, and won 6-0. I mean, it's basically, a training session in essence. And Aubameyang got a few nice goals on that. What you can read into that, I don't know. But, Aubameyang at home to these kind of, no disrespect, but kind of struggling teams, shall we say, is always going to have a good chance of getting returns. But away to Man City, I'm not so confident. But yeah, I mean, I've got Aubameyang at the moment. Would be, going into a double game week, it still would be nice to have him in there. But apart from that, don't know. I mean, Saka was the one that was getting those assists and was really good value for money before the obviously the pandemic cut tails to the Premier League season. But I mean, you could say Pepe, who's been this enigma all season. But what is he? Is he 9.5 million? I think.
I think so. Yes, I've got it up on screen right now. The specifically Arsenal players themselves. So Pepe is 9.3.
Okay. Yeah. So there's probably better value in that price bracket, really.
Well,
to be having.
A friend of the show, Firetog, mentioning Nketiah.
Yeah, Nketiah got a goal on Saturday against Lee. Remember Lee Bowyer? Lee Bowyer's Charlton Athletic. And, he scored against Everton, scored against Portsmouth in the Cup. I mean, he's been doing well. It's nice to see a sort of youngster come in and get some goals because Lacazette has not had a good season. I mean, I keep mentioning this friendly. He did score a good goal, a really good goal in this friendly, worth watching on YouTube after you've watched Elite FPL. But it's just that certainty of starts, really. I mean, as well as Nketiah has done from time to time, it is good having that physical presence up front with Lacazette. So I wouldn't be so sure about Nketiah, but I mean, if you had him as say you've got two premium strikers or one premium, one mid-range, and then maybe get him in just as a 1 week punt, over 2 games as a cheaper option, could be worth it.
I mean, I'm saying this with a bit of tongue in cheek, but Arsenal defence, is it worth bringing in maybe? I mean, up on screen right now is my team that I've got at the moment. And I just thought, to hell with it, I'm just going to go full into Man City. I've gone with Aguero, De Bruyne, Sterling. Now, my 3 Arsenal players are... I had one of them already, which was Saka. I bought in Aubameyang. And Leno. Arsenal defence, is it worth just having to bring in for that Brighton game? It's Brighton away. I say Brighton away. It's like James said on Planet FPL and Sush. Both of them said they're just neutral grounds. There's no home, there's no away. So actually, it doesn't really matter. I think it's a bit deceiving saying home and away. But yeah, Arsenal defence, Dan. Leno being a goalkeeper, guaranteed starter. You've got players like David Luiz, Socrates, Cedric. I'm literally just reading off the here. You've got Maitland-Niles in your own team, Kolasinac, Mustafi, Bellerin, Tierney, Holding. Any names spring out there where you think, get on him right now?
Not really. I have to say, maybe.
And this is an Arsenal fan, everybody.
This is a realist. I can't say that any of those are going to, I mean, you could. Luiz gets the occasional goal, doesn't he, from a set piece? We're going to concede against. We're going to concede against City. That's a given. And then Brighton are fighting for their lives. So yeah, no, I wouldn't. I'm not gonna do my thing of sitting on the fence. I wouldn't. I'm not recommending Arsenal whatsoever.
So moving on to certain other teams, for example, so FPL Penguin is talking about Kane as an example, and Gravy Dave is saying I can't have any striker from a Jose Mourinho team. We've got in the virtual FPL game, people like Jason say do not trust Tottenham. We all saw what happened last night with Harry Kane scoring 2 goals literally at the last seconds against Southampton. Talk to me about Harry Kane, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, back to fitness and that. Obviously, when the season was curtailed, he was injured and Spurs were kind of struggling in that sense. But Son's back Son's back to fitness as well after doing his military service. So, yeah, if Kane gets on form again and gets his confidence back up, it's definitely a great option, really. We've got to remember that he's won the Golden Boot before and he came second to Salah when he won the season after. Particularly at home, he's do well. So, and I say the fact that Son's fit as well is a big bonus that owns Kane, really.
Yeah, the opening game week fixture, so double game week 30. It kicks off next week Wednesday at 6 o'clock. It's Aston Villa versus Sheffield United, and we've got obviously you guys up against Man City. We then continue all the way through to Monday, where Man City finish up against us. We have some standout fixtures. Talking of Tottenham, we got Spurs versus United, Leicester, Watford. We got Everton, Liverpool, the big derby game. Regarding bringing in certain players from specific teams, maybe on an unlimited transfer for like a one-off punt, are there any players that stand out to you? Maybe potentially Vardy, Jimenez, Jota, Traore, Mason Mount, Abraham, keeping Salah, Mane. Your thoughts on certain individuals that have got single game week matches?
Yeah, that's the thing, really. I mean, with, like you say, going back to Wolves, certainly Jimenez is one that really stands out, particularly with, not just that single fixture and that double game week. As I said, going forward, Bournemouth, Villa, Arsenal, West Ham, you can score in all of those games, really. And yeah, if Jota could carry on that form that he had prior to the cancellation of the season, he would be one as well, really. But I will have to say that, I'm done with Traore because of how he's been in my team this season. Trolled me, taking him out. He started to perform and put him back. He stopped performing again. So I think he's one on my hit list to get rid of. But Vardy did quite well for me in virtual FPL. So he could be one as well. I mean, it is a bit of a minefield going back into it. You mentioned Chelsea as well. Obviously, got Villa. Very favourable fixture. So Abraham, another one to consider, considering how he started the season as well. So plenty of options.
I'm of the opinion personally that when we get back to the Premier League next week, that this is almost going to be like pre-season, in a sense of I truly do think there's going to be a lot of goals scored. I think certain matches, i.e. Man City versus Burnley as an example, I think that's going to be 5, 6, 7 to Man City. I think that yes, footballers will have professional pride, but I just think that deep down, psychologically speaking, I just think that certain teams, i.e. Burnley, Crystal Palace, just to name two, that really have got nothing to play for, and because of this, what's going on in the world at the moment, I just don't think they're going to be performing to their highest level. I've called it already. I've said that when it's Man City versus Liverpool in a few weeks' time, I honestly think that could be like 4 each. It could be 4 each or 0-0. I just don't, because Man City are going to be of the opinion of, you've won the title. There's nothing that we're going to do here. We're going to concentrate on Europe. Liverpool are going to think, well, I want to show you up. I want to go for it. Let's have a bit of fun. What are your thoughts on like goals galore, or maybe just like some games being just absolute drab matches? I mean, I don't know if you've been watching or keeping up to date with the Bundesliga. I couldn't care less about it, but some of the big teams like Bayern Munich, as an example, Borussia Dortmund, 4-5 goal scorelines.
Yeah, they've been, as I say, scoring goals for fun, and it is, for like some of the kind of, don't disrespect obviously when I say this, but like smaller teams, if you like, teams that are fighting for relegation, You know, they rely on the home crowd, and they're not going to have them there to lift them in those fixtures. So that is going to be tricky, really. So yeah, I think they could be. I mean, there's obviously the concern for injuries as well, because you know players, you know, although they've done this training now, they'll still be short of match fitness. So yeah, that's going to be a big concern as well. But yeah, I think they could be goals galore. I mean, you said all teams have got their pride in that, but going on the Bundesliga, I'm sure someone out in there in the chat's going to throw a stat at me now that proves me wrong, but it always seems to be like quite a high scoring league. But having kept an eye on the fixtures, I mean, the only one that would be close was Bayern versus Dortmund. Obviously, Bayern got the win, 1-0. But yeah, when I've seen the match reports, it's been lots of goals here, there, and everywhere. So, I mean, hopefully that's the case in the Premier League.
Ramsey Sinclair has made a point in the chat regarding, as always, single game week players will always be overlooked in double game weeks. The question for you is, will you be overlooking certain players in that particular game week? I know we've already mentioned players like Vardy, Jimenez, but there are particular fixtures there which do stand out ahead of double game week players. For example, for argument's sake, Grealish, you know, he's the talisman for Aston Villa. Would you take him, or would you rather have someone like, I don't know, for argument's sake here, Harvey Barnes away at Watford, for example, or Maddison, just for argument's sake? Your thoughts, yeah, on potentially... in fact, I'll rephrase the question. Would you rather have, with your unlimited transfers, essentially 12 double game week players, or would you rather maybe go like I'm doing, maybe have, I don't even know how many I've got. I've got, what is it? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've gone with 10 double game week players. Yeah, what?
Yeah.
I mean, and just to follow on with that question, what chips have you got left as well? A lot of questions, I know, but
yeah, no, that's fine. It's a good recap for me actually. I've got my I've still got my triple captain and bench boost. I've still got to decide when to use them really, but I mean, going back to what you were saying about the single game week and the double game week and the players, it does always seem to be the case that, you know, we get all hyped up about a double game week and then we kind of overlook, you know, some of these players, for example, Jimenez for Wolves or Abraham for Chelsea, that have got really good fixtures and that can outperform, you know, say like a player from Arsenal over 2 games. You know, that could be tougher than that one fixture. I mean, you say about Leicester, I did laugh about Harvey Barnes because so what happened was the last game that Leicester played was against Aston Villa and they won 4-0, and that was it was like a really long game week, and I remember I had Harvey Barnes on the bench, and I think somebody might be able to correct me on this, but I do believe that was Man City had a double game week. And from what I remember, Man City had Arsenal, which is obviously this game that's going to start now. When I had De Bruyne, he didn't play against Man United, which I remember on the Sunday. And then obviously he didn't play against Arsenal because the game was cancelled. So my first sub was Harvey Barnes, and that's when he got the 2 goals and the assist. To cut a very long story short, or even longer. So good old Harvey Barnes, he is coming into some kind of form from that previous fixture, but it's kind of like, how much do you kind of take in form from those games when it's been such a long time, you know, since that's happened, really, since, you know, 3 months, which is well, not ridiculous, but crazy when you think about it. So yeah, in a roundabout way, I'm going to be considering single game week players as well, really.
Right, I've got some admin to do. Kyle Patrick Vineyard. Just want to say from myself and Jason, really do appreciate the fact that you've become a member for the Elite FPL channel. Welcome to the community. It's very welcoming. I highly recommend you participate in the Discord channel itself. The link is in the description. I highly recommend when we do start taking phone calls that you would like to come live on air, just like Dan is right now. You didn't have to do this, but he's kindly donated £2 as a super chat, Dan, and I'll ask you the question as the guest. Are Vardy and Aubameyang a must-have?
Yeah, I think Aubameyang's a must-have. I'm saying that, but I'm kind of torn because you've obviously mentioned Man City, and I've got this one of my gut feelings that I never trust, that Aguero's gonna do something in that double game week. So, but I've got Vardy as well. So I'm pretty confident with Vardy, but I just have a feeling that over the double game week, that Aguero could outperform Aubameyang, and that could bite me in the arse if I don't do something about it. So I'm going to have a think about that one. But yeah, stick with Vardy, definitely.
Now, I will warn everybody now that this specific stream is going to be, in the next couple of minutes, talking about virtual FPL. Myself and Dan will be doing the commentary for all the games, game week 33. We will obviously be trying to kind of talk about FPL, but the reality is this. We just wanted to take the first half an hour or so to talk about, obviously, Dan's thoughts on FPL returning, etc., etc. So in the next couple of minutes or so, we'll be focusing predominantly on virtual FPL. So do not panic if you are only here for virtual FPL. I very much doubt it, but if you are, then please just stick around, because myself and Dan will be commentating on the games for game week 33. The simple question, another question regarding FPL / Premier League is, do you think it's have you got a different mindset to the game now? Now we've had all this pandemic, it's finished now and everything, and now the game's back. Because for me, I've got this different mindset where it's just like, I just want to have a bit of fun with it. I've got no chance of doing anything in the Cash Mini League, so I may as well just have a bit of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I don't think the pandemic's over, but but I know what you're saying. I mean, it is obviously a case that we're back to kind of some kind of normality now with Premier League games again, and yeah, you know what? I say this, but I'm getting stressed out thinking about whether or not to bring Aguero in for Aubameyang already. But in essence, I've got less to play for than you, so I don't know why I'm getting so worked up about it. But yeah, I do want to have a bit of fun. I think playing virtual FPL as well it's just a lot more kind of simple and carefree. So I kind of want to take a little bit of that mentality into, playing, normal FPL, real FPL, if you like. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, the season the end of the season will fly by, but it would be nice to finish above you, but it's going to be quite a tall order.
Cheers, Penguin. Thanks very much, pal. Before we get onto virtual FPL, I have got another special guest. This is a real honour to be bringing on James Bang. We haven't heard from James for about 4 months. He said he's got a special announcement. Here we go. I'm going to bring him on immediately. James Bang, welcome back. Hello, James. Oh, he's forgot how to use his mobile phone. Come on, James. Are we going to get those happy tones back? I'll just put him back in the waiting room for a second, and we'll try and bring him back on air. But yes, we are here, everybody, for virtual FPL. We do want to start focusing on that, because at the end of the day, this is what we are here for as it stands right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it up on screen, the virtual FPL screen. There it is. That is my team, everybody. So for anybody listening, it is Pope in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Dan, Vinagre, Salah, Martial, Richarlison, Traore, Zaha, Vardy, Rashford, and I've gone with Rashford captain. I'll explain all that in a minute. We all know what happened last night. My free hit was an absolute disaster, and I mean an absolute disaster. If I'd have just stuck with the team that I had, or if I'd have just done what I'd initially was thinking of doing, which was Mane in for Salah, I'd have done extremely well last night. I didn't. We all know what happened last night. I've done one transfer tonight as well. I just thought, Sane, go. You're a waste of space. He's away at Liverpool. He's probably going to now go and get a brace away at Liverpool. But I've just brought in Zaha. He's got a nice fixture against Bournemouth. Bournemouth are useless away from home. And I just thought, you know what? Zaha at home gets excellent returns. And I'd like to think he'd get me something. I've gone with Rashford captain tonight. Mainly because, number one, he's in form. Number two, it's Southampton. They're absolutely useless. And also, if you remember last night, I've been doing a bit of digging around regarding certain bits of data in the sense of how players perform in the previous fixture, and I could kind of work out what they're going to probably return in the next fixture, and it looks like Rashford could be on for a decent score. It was either between Rashford and Vardy, but I thought to hell with it. Man United, one of the last games of tonight's fixture list, and I'm just hoping that I get a decent return. Well, let's just quickly see if James is there again, because it will be very, very good to hear from him. He is there. I can bring him live on air right now. Let's go. James! He said he was muted. James, are you there? Oh, I've missed this, Dan, haven't you?
Yeah, I thought he was going to be back with a bang, but instead it's just silent.
James, stay in the waiting room, my friend. We will get you live on it, unless you want to do the announcement on Saturday. Unless you want to do it on Saturday, mate, because like I say, we are going to be focusing on virtual FPL. But if you want to come on Saturday, we will obviously make space available for you. Right then,
he's got to tell us what it is.
Of course. I will keep it in the waiting room. I'm sure he'll let us in chat know what's going on. What I'm going to do now is, well, Dan, tell us about your team. What specifically have you done, my friend?
Okay, so I'll talk you through my team. I literally, as I said, you asked me to join this stream. I only play virtual FPL when I come on streams, guys, okay? So I'm too busy trying to sort out the real FPL. So I can see straight away that I've got Patricio in goal, which is probably going to be a mistake. Baldock, Alexander-Arnold.
Before you continue, you've wild-carded, haven't you?
Yeah, I bought in... I've got Vardy for captain.
Cool.
So I'm wild-carded. I've got it. Yeah, this is probably the last time I'm going to play a virtual FPL, so I thought, do you know what? I've got the triple captain chip. I'm going to put that on Vardy. So, yeah, that's what I decided to do, kind of.
Friend, I think we may have been disconnected.
Yeah, that's strange because I am on data. But anyway, sorry, going back to what I was saying. So midfield, Mane, Neto.
Hold that thought, Dan. Just 2 seconds. Hold that thought for 2 seconds.